Do good, Maverico here. Podcast episode number 148. You were born free, but have you chosen the leash? Most of us are born free, but we are living in a society and a culture that oftentimes, in many ways, are kind of imprisoning us into different things. I'm especially thinking about the Matrix, the 9 to 5 rat race. Now, just to be clear, I'm not promoting idleness. Laziness is bad. Hard work is good. But the thing is, when it comes to having a job as your one and only source of income, it's not really what it used to be. Some people even argue, saying that if you look back at history, there were a lot of servants, maybe even slaves, that were working, but they were working less than a lot of people that are working a normal 9 to 5 job these days. And there might be a lot of truth to that. Of course, that doesn't mean that all people these days that have a job are a slave. But there was also a difference between a slave and a servant. And if we compare having a 9 to 5 job with being a servant, then it might not be that far-fetched to make the comparison. And the thing is, the winner of the rat race is still a rat. Sometimes sometimes it's not just about winning the game. Maybe you have to switch games, because some games, even if you win them, you're kind of still in the same game. And if you want to escape the Matrix and it's 9 to 5 rat race, just to be clear, I'm not an expert at this. I'm kind of in the same process myself at the time of this recording. And I'm also working on interviewing several real-life success stories of people that have escaped for my online education and community platform that I call terrific30.com. My concept is basically that I want to interview either 30 success stories or 30 experts about the same thing, and I'm turning those 30 interviews into a course, and sometimes also a community and a book. And the one I'm working on now is one of them, that's community cash cows, I call it. It's real life success stories of people that are making at least $10,000 in profit per month from running a paid community. And the really exciting thing is that several of these people that I have interviewed, they're basically running their paid community like kind of like a cash cow, business. By the way, sorry for the noise there. I'm walking past this creek. I'm outside walking, so sorry if the audio is bad. But yeah, several of these people that I've interviewed about their paid community are basically running it like a cash cow business or a lifestyle business, where it is kind of like a form of what I call semi-passive income. Not all of them are running it like that, but several of them are. I kind of loosely define semi-passive income as something that requires about 2 to 15 hours of work per week. Imagine if you had your own community cash cow, your own online paid community that were generating 10, maybe even 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 thousand dollars in profit per month. Now it's high, that's a high number compared to a lot of jobs, but it's not really that extremely high. There are a bunch of paid communities making that kind of money. So we're not talking about tens of millions of dollars. So it's not really that extremely unrealistic what I'm talking about. Making like $60,000 in profit per month. Now, I'm not saying that's easy, but it is possible, you know. But yeah, imagine it somewhere between 5 to 6 figures in profit per month. If you only had to work like 15 hours per week, now while building a paid community, you're probably going to be working more than that. But something where if you chose to, you would have the possibility of working or only 15 hours per week. If that was the case, what would you do? If you think about it, it's really fascinating what kind of lifestyle you could get out of something like that. In his famous book, The 4-Hour Workweek, Timothy Ferriss talks about the concept that he calls ideal lifestyle design. Basically, where you look at the monthly cost of what it would take to do the top like 2 or 3. I think it was the top 1 to 3 things in the category of what you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to have. If you look at the top 1 to 3 most important things in each of those categories, what do you want to be, what do you want to be doing, and what do you want to have? If you look at only the most important ones in each category, and then you look at not necessarily the grand total, but you look at the monthly cost of what something like that would cost you. What Tim Ferriss is saying is that oftentimes it costs a lot less than what most people think. Oftentimes people think that in order to escape the rat race and live their ideal lifestyle, they need $10 million, things like that. But oftentimes it's actually a lot less. And that can be extremely liberating, because what you think might take you, oh, that's like a 2-decade plan. I need to plan ahead for in 2 decades from now, maybe if I am working really hard and I'm also lucky, then maybe I can do it. No, maybe you can do it in like a few months from now. You know, if your dream is to, by the way, sorry about the background noise. I'm walking past this other creek. But yeah, let's take an example. Maybe you have a dream of being an author that are writing books, maybe fiction books, maybe non-fiction books, whatever. Maybe that's your dream. You want to be an author, and you want to be driving around in a classic Porsche 911, and you want to spend your days driving around in your Porsche, in your classic 1970s Porsche 911 and you want to drive to different coffee shops and have your Apple MacBook Air and your notebook with you inside, order your favorite meal and sit down and watch as other people are hustling by in their 9 to 5 rat race while you have your own income, your own high income every month, while you're spending your time writing books. Maybe that's your dream, you know? But the thing is, even if you're dreaming about doing something like that, now let me complete that one. Okay, let's say that's your dream. You want to be an author. That's what you want to be doing. You want to be driving around in your old Porsche 911, visiting different coffee shops, writing. Maybe you also want to travel a bunch. Maybe you want to spend time with family. Maybe you want to scale and grow your online business. And yeah, you want to write books. Let's say that's your dream. That's as an example. A lot of people might think that, yeah, but then in order to do that full time, you would either have to be retired, or you'd need to have so much money that you could live off the interest of that money, or live off of that sum for the rest of your life. If you're thinking that way, it might seem really daunting and unrealistic. Or someone might think that in order to do that, they would need to be a successful author. They would need to be writing great books that became bestsellers, so that they could make the money on the books. But the thing is, sometimes what you are passionate about does not have to be the thing you make your money on, even if you escape the 9 to 5 rat race and spend a lot of your time doing it. Maybe you spend most of your time driving around in an old Porsche 911, eating at coffee shops while writing books, and also traveling a bunch. Maybe that's what you're spending most of your time on, but it doesn't have to be the thing you are making your money on. But if you had a paid community for laundromat owners in America that had at least 5 different laundromat locations and wanted to scale and grow bigger, let's say that was the audience and the type of members you were selling memberships to in your paid community. For an exclusive paid community like that, you could probably charge a few $100s per month. How many members would you then need to make like $20,000 in profit per month? And imagine the value for those members, where they could learn from each other and help each other get to the next level. Exciting stuff. So yeah, that might be your business that you're running, and you have maybe a VA, a virtual assistant from the Philippines, that takes care of a lot of the drudgery, like tech problems, onboarding, some of the engagement, something like that, maybe some of the group calls. But then you could also be doing some of the things in the community, like engaging with members, maybe some of the live calls, things like that. So you might only be spending a few hours per week on your paid community business, but you might be doing what you're passionate about, driving around in your old Porsche 911, custom built, while stopping at different coffee shops, roadside diners, writing on your next fiction book or non-fiction book. Think about it. I think it can often be a trap when people say follow your passion when it comes to business, because sometimes it can be selfish. That's one thing. Yeah, it's about you, but business is about providing value, serving people, solving problems, things like that. It's about other people, serving other people. But saying follow your passion is to follow your passion, what you are passionate about. Sometimes it can be great, but other times it can be kind of horrible. One thing is that if you turn your passion, what you're passionate about, if you want to turn that into your career or your income stream, you're going to turn it into what you're making money on. Sometimes it can kind of destroy it. What used to be really fun, sometimes it's not fun anymore when you're doing it as a job to make money. Sometimes it can be great, sometimes it can be horrible. That's also one thing. And another thing, depending a lot on what you are passionate about, is that it might take a long time. There are people, several of the people I've interviewed, from the day they launched their paid community until they were making over $10,000 in profit per month, it took them about 2 to 3 months. Isn't that fascinating? Even if they have to work like maybe like 15 hours per week, it still beats working 40 years to get retired, you know? And yeah, if what you're passionate about is not really suitable for a business, or maybe you don't want to do it primarily as a business, then maybe you should instead launch a proven business model, launch a business with a proven business model that has a high likelihood of also providing you a lot of time freedom. So that you're making your money that way, and then you're spending your time, a lot of your time, doing what you're passionate about. That might be the solution for many people. By the way, look at that view. Woo. For those of you watching the video, look at that view. This is in early February 2025. So yeah, it's different. In the summer, it's even more beautiful here, because then the sun are setting about in the middle of the fjord out there. And during the summertime here in Norway, it's light outside until almost midnight. So yeah. But yeah, I guess you get my point. Another thing when it comes to follow your passion, I think it's oftentimes confused. There's a lot of even rich people saying it, that follow your passion or be passionate. But also there's a lot of people saying be passionate about what you do, not follow your passion, but be passionate about what you do. Or they are they are saying love what you do. They're not saying do what you love. That's also a distinction, where they're kind of saying that what you're doing with your business, be passionate about it. So you don't necessarily have to follow your passion, what you're most passionate about, turn it into a business. But sometimes you can kind of decide to be passionate about it as well. But yeah, it's a hard argument when it comes to follow your passion or not, doing what you're passionate or not as a business. It's a pretty individualistic thing. But yeah, I think it's worth thinking about what I'm saying, that maybe you should launch a business with a proven business model, and hopefully you can do it correctly and somewhat quickly, where it is generating a high monthly income while also providing you with a bunch of free time. And if it sounds unrealistic or hard to do, try to compare it. Let's take that author example again. If he was going to get to the point of driving around in his classic Porsche 911 and write books from coffee shop to coffee shop, and also going on a bunch of vacations, if he was going to get to that point from starting as a writer, maybe the chances of him ever achieving it as a writer, maybe it would be lower than launching another online lifestyle business like a paid community or an email newsletter business, things like that. It might be. And even if you're not interested in laundromats, if you had your own paid community with like 74 members of laundromat owners, and you were making over $20,000 in profit per month from that paid community, I guess you would feel a bit different about laundromats and laundromat investors as well. Maybe this was like your own semi-secret little business that not that many people knew about. So when you were opening your laptop, sometimes maybe you were writing books. Sometimes you might be checking up on your online business. Yeah. I'm sorry if I got kind of on a rant about this one, but yeah, I just thought that was a distinction, and it might be of value to some people, because for some people watching this, it might be a shortcut to doing what you're passionate about, or to living your ideal lifestyle, you know. I'm sorry about my camera angle. I'm just trying to get out my tablet here. But yeah, you were born free, but did you choose the leash? But the good news is the dream of freedom is possible, and it might be even closer than you think. If you want to learn from those real life success stories of paid community owners making like 5 to 6 figures in profit per month that I interviewed, and you also want to connect with a bunch of other people, by the way, is this by the way, I was getting confused about this Zoom stuff. Woo! Sorry about that. I was looking at my screen, and it looked like I was not recording this. That's the way Zoom is. Usually it shows record or rec up in the corner, but I didn't see it. And I saw the record button. Oh snap, have I not really pressed record? Crazy. I was starting to wonder if I've been talking to myself for all these minutes. Anyway, let me get back to my point. If you want to connect with a bunch of other people in the process of building their own paid community and learn from real life success stories, not just theory, real life success stories of people that have done it, check out communitycashcows.com. All right, take care, and God bless.